Hello, today is Monday, May 11th, 2015, and I am your host, Sue Brown, and welcome to info2rail, your freight train to modern media. How y'all doing today? Well, I want to welcome you all to our great show today for you, and let you know that it is not hot out this time, and now it went from hot to raining and thunder and lightning and kind of miserable, but it was a beautiful thunder and lightning storm here in New York, and I hope you guys are getting better weather than we are. Today we have a great show in store for you. We're very fortunate to have author and lecturer Barry Strohm with us today. And we're going to be doing lots of fun questions and answers today. First, we're going to take our normal glimpse into the missing persons files. 14 weeks ago, an autistic teen, Avante Aquendo, disappeared after leaving the Riverview School in Long Island City, Queens. His family has never stopped looking for him. Please go on my website, info2rail, and there's a picture of him. Share this picture with anybody you can, and make sure that you're looking as well, in hopes that somebody will recognize him and will alert the authorities. You got any information on him, please contact your local 911. As I said, I get these guys out, these missing people things out to you every week because to me it's very important. You know, if just one, it just takes one of us to see somebody that's missing or have any information, and we can bring these people home safely, hopefully. The second one is authorities in Wilmington are asking for help to find a missing teen girl. Sandy Harridan, 14, went missing yesterday afternoon. Please share this picture, which again is on my website, to help locate her return and get her home safe to her family. I post, even if I have all the detailed information on what they look like and stuff, I still post them on the website. And you guys, I strongly urge you guys to come on the info2rail Google sites and take a look at these. This is very important. And as I tell you every week, what if this was your mother, your father, your child, your sister, your brother? You know, you would want help to find them too. So we need to band together in this world and come together and help find these missing people. We're going to take a short break. And when we return, we will have Barry Strohm with us. Stay tuned. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Okay, we are back with Barry Strohm. Barry was born near Hershey, Pennsylvania, but currently resides in Park City, Utah, with Connie, his wife of 50 years. The author graduated from Lehigh University with a business management degree and obtained a civil engineering license. He is the current owner of Golden Lane Antique Gallery in New Oxford, Pennsylvania, one of the most haunted structures in the country. What started as a casual interest in paranormal photography became an obsession as the author was led along the path of learning about the afterlife and the presence of aliens amongst us. The gift of spirit communication allowed the author to contact the spirits of deceased aliens and obtain actual information that has never before appeared in print. Welcome to info2rail, Barry, and thank you very much for being on our show.
Well, it's an honor. I feel very privileged to be here.
Can you start off by telling our listeners about you and what you do and how you got started in what you do?
Well, I have a scientific background. I have a civil engineering license. I have a degree in business management. I have a minor in statistics. And I actually worked in the construction aggregate industry all my life, stone quarries and heavy equipment and construction. I bought an old store here in Pennsylvania and converted it into an antique gallery 25 years ago. And then as our life changed and I got out of the stone business, I found we had to come back here full time and realize just how haunted this building was. 10 years ago, I never even believed in ghosts. And now I'm in the process of finishing my fourth book concerning them.
Very nice. Can you tell us about your experiences channeling through a board?
We were introduced to board channeling by some friends out in Salt Lake City. In my current book, I have a chapter called "It's Preordained," and the spirit guides actually led us to these folks. but they have been doing it for 30 years, and they use a specially designed board, quite a bit different from a Ouija board, and they have a glass surface on it, and we actually use a glass slider, an indicator, and a lubricating oil, and the board moves very easily so that we can get some amazing results out of it. But the messages are spelled out one letter or number at a time. Two of us work on the slider, and the third person will take notes and write down all the letters, and everything that we do, we take a video and audio record of. So everything that appears in my books, I have a video file on.
So basically it's similar to a Ouija board.
Very similar to a Ouija board, except the guides, we have actually let the guides design the board that we're now using. They even have given us a prayer of protection that we put on the back side of the board, and a prayer that we repeat every time that we get started with a session.
How did you come about finding these guides?
We were, as I say, I came from a total non-believer to this. My wife was actually introduced to the people that brought us around to the channeling board. She was called for jury duty. This lady she sits next to on the jury, they become friends. After a couple of years, we tell them about the paranormal happenings that's going on back here in Pennsylvania. And they admit that they've been doing this channeling for 30 years and invited me to come to one of their channeling sessions. And the guides came in and started giving me messages and left me with no doubt that they knew exactly what they were talking about. They were well familiar with my prior life, with my current life, and with the future that's going to happen in this one.
Can you give us a little bit of insight? Who did you actually get to channel that we might all know?
Well, as we've progressed, we've channeled with a lot of well-known people. We've had St. Augustine. We've had several of the apostles. We had St. Timothy. We've channeled with St. Andrew, St. Bartholomew. And we've actually channeled with Jack Kennedy. We've channeled with Ulysses Grant on multiple occasions. We've had Buddy Holly, Davy Jones of the Monkees. It's a very, very long list of people that we've actually talked to in this now.
That is very interesting. Were there messages about the past and what happened with them? Is that what they channeled with you about?
Yes. I'm actually almost finished with my fourth book, and it's going to be a book on historical conspiracies, in which we've channeled the individuals that actually lived the events. That's when we talked to Jack Kennedy, he actually told us what happened at his own assassination, how he was killed, all the background, all the truth of what really happened, but they're in his words.
Oh, that is very interesting. Can you tell us about the hauntings that occurred in your gallery?
Yes. The first and probably the foremost one that got me really interested in the spirit world is we were doing the first professional investigation we ever tried here. And we broke up into groups, and I had a medium that I work with quite a bit, Barbara Lee, with us in our group. And she's sitting, we're in the far corner of the store, the lights are out, we're sitting there, and she says, I'm hearing a child ghost. She's talking about a pink doll that she has. And she says she would like to show us her doll. I had a K2 meter in my hand, for those of you not familiar with it, that has blinking lights when you get the energy of a spirit near you. So I said, well, let me step back 1 second. The medium also said that the little girl ghost's name was Clarissa. So I said, Clarissa, would you be able to come close to this meter and make it blink? Amazingly, all of a sudden, the meter takes off and starts blinking in my hand. So I said, Clarissa, would you be able to make this blink once for yes and make it blink twice for no? And it blinks once, meaning she could do it. And then I said, Clarissa, would you like to show us your pink doll? And it blinks once for yes. So we're in the dark. We start across the store. We come to the first aisle, and I said, Clarissa, should I turn here? And it blinks once, or it blinks twice for no. We come to the next aisle, and I ask her if we should cross here, and she says, It blinks twice again for no. We come to the third aisle, and I say, Clarissa, should I turn left here? And it blinks once for yes. So we all turn. We start down this aisle in the dark. And all of a sudden, we lose all sight of her. And, we're going, man, that was really something. Well, it comes time for us to take a break. And I'm coming back through the store, and I'm turning the lights back on. And I come to the area where we'd lost track of her. And I look up in this case, and here's this old pink doll right where we lost track of her. She had taken us about 150 foot with 3 commands and took us to this pink doll that was hers. So after that, I was a believer.
It is very cool. I've been into the paranormal a lot of my life as well, and I've seen some crazy things that I cannot explain.
Well, I had a really wild thing happen here yesterday when I came into work. The building that I'm in is an old shoe factory, dates back to 1877. And they used to make shoes here. It was shut down in 1970. I got in the store a little early yesterday. It was Mother's Day. And I walked in the office. I laid my computer down, and I can hear this equipment, this noise, that I've never heard before. And I thought, man, somebody must have left the exhaust fan on in one of the bathrooms. I walk around. There's nothing on in the bathrooms. I walk back to my office, and it's all quiet. Here, what I heard was the sound of the equipment making shoes. It was a residual haunting, and it was just as loud when I walked in. I couldn't believe it.
That is so cool. That's awesome. So before any of this stuff happened to you, you didn't believe anything whatsoever in ghosts?
No, I was doing my own thing. You had to prove it to me.
Well, I guess it proved it to you, didn't it?
In more ways than you can imagine, yes.
Can you tell us about your paranormal photography?
Yeah, once we started getting interested into the spirit world here at the store, I began to take photography. My wife and I actually did professional photography for a while. We took pictures of animals out west. So I started taking paranormal pictures, and it's almost like they decided they wanted to pose for me. I mean, we have orbs with faces in. They would, wherever I'd go in here and take shots, we'd have multiple action going on. We are located about 8 miles from the Gettysburg battlefield. So I started going over onto the battlefield and taking pictures. And Gettysburg is truly one of the most haunted places in the country. As a result, over a period of 2 years, I took about 60,000 pictures at night over there by myself, and wrote my first book, Haunting the History of the Battle of Gettysburg, in which I put about 250 of the ghost pictures in that first book. But I got some amazing photographs. I have pictures of angels. I have pictures of fairies. A lot of things people don't believe exist.
Why is it you think that these ghosts make themselves visible to you?
Part of it is because I got to get a little bit into preordation and karma path and how your life is really laid out. Apparently, my karma path is that I need to take photographs and I need to write books to tell people about the other side. That is, I am told by the spirits that is the karma that was laid out for me before I came in, and the spirits cooperate. They want to help me get this information out. I truly believe that the veil is getting thinner, and that the spirits really want us to know what is going on the other side.
Do you think that anybody could have the same contact you do with the other side?
I think anybody can have contact, but a lot of what I've done is very, very special. I just can't imagine people being able to get the results I've gotten out there. I mean, I got probably 200 pictures of fairies, which seems a little unusual.
Well, I think that's very cool because I've always believed in that stuff. I always have. And, I've never witnessed that myself with my own eyes or anything, but I've always had that belief that these things do exist. We look at our Bible today. Do we have reason to believe that what our Bible tells us about heaven and God and such is real?
Some of it's real. Um, I'm actually thinking about writing a book on the lost gospels. We actually had the honor of channeling with Pope Sylvester I. Pope Sylvester I was the Pope at the time that Constantine selected what Gospels would be put into what has become our modern day Bible. But we actually had the opportunity to ask a person to help participate what books were selected and why they were selected. And he was very emphatic about the fact that he did not agree with all the books that were selected to become the final book, because Constantine was trying to solidify his political power at the time. And he was much more worried about his personal power than he was about the future of Christianity, because he had no idea what that Bible was going to become. So there is a ton of information in Gospels that are not printed in our Bible.
Are we okay to believe that there really is truly a God and a Jesus?
Oh, there is unequivocally a God. As a matter of fact, he is the God of our galaxy. I've written about that. As a matter of fact, I was just reviewing that chapter today that I'm working on in a future book. There is definitely a Son of God that has been sent to us. There's no question about that. But the more that you learn about this, the more you realize just how powerful and really all-powerful God really is.
Well, sometimes, we get lost in our lives, and I know that people have a million different beliefs in this world, as there's so many people on this earth, and not everybody has the same beliefs as one another. People lose faith in God, and what I've seen in my life is when you're at your lowest and you've lost all that faith, that's to me when God, opens doors and opens eyes and says, you know what, I'm right here and I am working.
If you ask him to, he will. If you continue to ignore him, you will probably remain on the low side.
How is it that we hear God's words? What are we listening for?
What you're actually hearing is not God himself. You're hearing the words of your guides that are delivering the messages. It's like this incredible hierarchy on the other side. It's like one of the best run businesses you'll ever see. It is possible that you can have holy contact, but it's improbable. Most of what you are hearing, once you learn how all this works, your guardian angel are really souls on the other side that are there to help you. And they can be guides or they can be earthbound souls, as I found out.
How is it we could go about finding out who our guardian angel is?
Oh, you have various spirits will act as a guardian angel. I have a rather lengthy story that involves a spirit saving my life unequivocally about 3 or 4 years ago. I'm a firm believer in reincarnation. I actually know 2 of my prior lives, and I can historically prove the facts that are involved with it. One of my prior lives, I was a Confederate soldier that actually fought at Gettysburg. That is why since childhood I've been drawn to the battlefield. There's certain areas of the battlefield where where good things happen. There's certain areas of the battlefield I'm not supposed to go to. I fought the 2nd and 3rd day as a Confederate soldier at a certain area of the battlefield. If I go to Union areas, I've actually, and I tell the story in my last book, I've actually had the spirits throw a stone at my truck.
Wow.
And my wife was sitting in the truck at the time as a witness, and she wasn't real pleased about that either. But getting back to my story, there's a wooded path at this section of the battlefield that I go to. Every time I'm out there in that area, I always go down, take my pictures. I get great photography there. It's very spiritually active. And it's probably the most reliable place I can go to take photographs. Well, I actually had the ability to channel with a prior life friend who fought with me at Gettysburg. So one night, I'm out on the battlefield, and I'm walking down, start to go down this wooded path, and all of a sudden I hear, don't go. And in my stomach, I feel this cold fear, and I'm not afraid out on there at night. I didn't go. I went back about 50 feet, and this gigantic tree fell right on the trail where I would have been. If I hadn't listened to that voice in my head and that feeling in my stomach, I would have been out there under that tree at night. And I know the results would not have been that good. So I'm thinking guardian angel, right? That's the way guardian angels are supposed to work. So one night I'm channeling with my friend that I fought with out there on the battlefield. And his name was Jeffrey. And if you go on my one website, ghostsofgoldenlane.com, you can actually hear ghost box sessions where I talk to him. But I'm channeling with Jeffrey, and I said, Jeffrey, did we fight behind that stone wall at the path? And he says, yes, we did. And I said, Jeffrey, did you save my life out there that night? And his reply was, no, it was the fellows. It was the souls of the soldiers that I fought with in the prior life that were killed there that recognized my soul and saved my life.
That is awesome. That is fascinating.
Isn't that wild?
Yes, it is. That's great.
So your protections can come from all different angles.
I lost my dad here in October, and I just wonder if it's a possibility, if he can, does he watch over me? Does he help me out and stuff?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, I've heard of this stuff before. I just never really, I like to learn, and I'm very open to learning things, and I'm very spiritual that way. A lot of times he comes to me in my dreams and talks to me in my dreams, and a lot of the time it's, he's always been that quirky person, and he's smart alecky. And my first dream I had after he passed, I said, why are you here? You're dead. And he looked down at himself and said, don't look dead to me. I feel fine, better than I ever did. You don't have to worry about me.
Well, I guarantee he felt better than he ever did.
Oh, yeah, I'm quite sure.
Yeah, no, they feel good over there. It's a great place.
But do you believe that was, do they indeed actually, talk with us when we're dreaming and stuff?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. That is the easiest way for them to come to you is in your dreams. If you want the best time for a beginning person to have spiritual contact is actually in your pre-sleep condition. If you can maintain that pre-sleep trance-like mode, quite often you can contact guides and have a real conversation with spirits.
How do we maintain that specific place where we're in between sleep and awake?
It's really hard. It's just focus. When you're starting to get results, you just have to consciously say, keep yourself from going any deeper into that sleep mode. It takes practice.
I've tried a lot of times to meditate, and I know that meditation is good for your soul. It cleanses and all that stuff. But the problem I have is when I try to meditate, I always fall asleep. Never fails.
Well, you're getting close. That's actually the logical progression of it. But the part of what you need to do is focus on not falling asleep, or focus on a state where you can try to remember your dreams, which is difficult. I have a hard time remembering my dreams.
I can remember my dreams if there is a specific message that is so important. Those are the dreams I can't shake.
They'll get through to you.
And I have them quite often. There's a house that I go to in my dreams very often, and I've never in life seen this house, but I've gone to this house since I was very young. And when I get there, I say, I know I'm not supposed to be here, but I put the key in and I go in, and when I'm in there, that's my only safe place there is in the whole wide world. And as I said, I've never really seen it, but it's the same house, and every time I go there, and it's only when I'm stressed. If I'm having problems that are going on in my life or just a stressful day, it seems when I go to sleep, I always go there.
That is your safe place, and they're trying to tell you that in the depth of your soul, you have the ability to find peace and safety.
Wow. I always wondered about it, and nobody could ever answer that question for me. I thought, am I crazy? Is this a house I'm going to actually find someday? Or, what is the significance of this house?
You probably won't know until you get over on the other side and they tell you.
Well, that's definitely, I don't fear that other side, and I really don't fear death. I don't fear what happens after this. We have no control when it's time for us to go. So therefore, I don't see a reason to fear it. But knowing that there's something on the other side and you don't just cease to exist makes everything so much more comfortable.
Oh, it's to the when we channel with the spirits, they tell us that death is the beginning. To us, death is the end.
Right.
But death is just simply your soul's released from your body, and then you get it, and off you go again. It's a magnificent, unbelievable thing.
You say that you know of two past lives. How did you learn of your two past lives?
The guides tell us. One of them, my friend Jeffrey told me all about. That was the one in Gettysburg. And your soul can actually have a bit of a split life. And I had another Western life where I was a Native American, which is actually quite interesting.
Yes, it definitely is. I wonder often what I was in my past life. For a long time, I battled whether or not past lives existed, but there's too many things that I recognize, people and places that I recognize in this lifetime that I've never experienced before I've actually met them or seen them.
You'll be amazed how much influence that your prior life actually has on your current life. In one of my prior life at Gettysburg, my name was Bernard Carter. In this life, my name is Barry.
Wow.
My wife's last name in prior life was Connolly. In this life, her name is Connie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And she and I have been together 5 or 6 lifetimes.
Wow.
And we just celebrated our 50th anniversary.
Do you believe that in past life soulmates continue to go on through then you believe that they continue to go on through the next life?
You have a very complex soul family over there. You have souls on the other side and you have souls on this side. But you have this family of souls that basically follows you through time.
Wow. That is awesome. Do you think that we're put through multiple lives to get it right, as people say?
Well, the entire purpose of reincarnation is soul experience. You have to experience all these different feelings, all these emotions. You have to feel pain. You have to feel everything that Jesus felt. And you have to elevate yourself through the realms on the other side as you increase in your learning. And it takes hundreds and hundreds of lifetimes for you to become this knowledgeable and loving person until you can ascend to the highest realm over there.
Why is it you believe that we don't bring our full consciousness of our past lives into our new ones?
Because you're supposed to have a unique learning experience on this side. If you had all that, you have all that knowledge when you're on the other side. But when you're here, your memory is wiped clean because you are given free will and free choice over here. You have an ego and you have a free will. And if you use that to screw up this lifetime, then you're on your own through the free choice.
Huh. You talk about, I read your bio, and you talk about contacting aliens and obtaining information. What information have you obtained what aliens are really out there?
Aliens are everywhere. I was very skeptical about it, but there's one key fact that will open the door for you to understand how things work. And that fact is the aliens have the same souls that we have. Now, once you understand that they have the same souls that we have, then the same contacting or channeling will work with aliens that will work with us. And I was getting messages that I should be writing a book about aliens. and I had started channeling with just regular guides and asking them questions. And then one night they tell me that I'm going to be introduced to a new guide who is one. And then they said, don't worry, there won't be any abductions. So the next night we channel, in comes this spirit guide by the name of Mu, who was an alien. He's passed. He died in 1987, but his soul is over there commingling with the souls of humans on the other side. And we've now had like about 15 channeling sessions with him where he's told us all the details, what goes on, how he reincarnates, how humans reincarnate. The process is the same. And he has the same, on his planet, he worshiped the same God that we worship.
Wow.
Yeah, I just finished. I'm writing a chapter on the universality of God, and it's really amazing, and it's based mostly on information that he has given me.
So are these aliens something that was created by the same God that created us?
Absolutely. They're far advanced cultures. We're a very, very young culture here on Earth, and they actually come to observe and help us. When I tell people what it's like for the aliens, I said, think about you going to the zoo and watching the animals. They come here to observe us and see what's going on too, and to aid us as we progress.
Some people say that they've been abducted and had, some pretty rough experiences in their abduction. What exactly is their whole reason for these abductions? What are they looking for from us?
What they're doing, I asked Moo one time, I said, why do you perform the abductions? And he says, we're trying to see how you guys are killing yourselves. They run DNA testing, they run to see, pesticides in our system. It's all a matter of research. And it's done thousands of times a year.
Wow. You hear all these, how many different races do you believe of aliens exist out there besides us?
A lot. He said that he has friends on 12 different planets, and we have discussed multiple types. We are going to be going into detail on the different alien types for this book that we're working on right now. But he's given me a lot of details about what he looks like and what his planet is and things. We've talked about the Greys quite a bit, and there are many, many different types. And yes, shapeshifters do exist.
These shadow people, what do you believe that they are?
The shadow figures are earthbound spirits. You're just seeing them in another form. I've photographed them, and we have them here all the time.
I just wondered, are they something that's stuck between our Earth here in an inner dimension somewhere? Is that why we only see their shadows?
No, they're earthbound. Most of them actually can form up into an apparition. It's an easy state for them. They can be orbs, they can be shadow figures, or they can be apparitions. It just takes a lot more energy for them to be in full form.
Why is it when we catch a shadow figure and we try to approach it, it runs?
Because they're afraid of us. Some of them are very bashful. If they were bashful in life, they're going to be bashful on the other side. I have one downstairs that's very bashful. He always stays in the background. I actually have a picture of him looking around the corner and staring into my camera and pulling back.
Wow. That would be fascinating to see.
Yeah, I think I have it posted on YouTube.
I've definitely have to get on there. And, I've noticed that you've written some books, and I'm really interested in getting your books, too. This stuff to me is something that's been fascinating to me my whole life. And, not many people get that opportunity to actually witness this and actually, get to communicate with these, the spirits from the other side or the aliens.
Well, we literally talk to them every day. I had 2 people come in yesterday, and my wife has a prior life brother, Bert, that sticks with her all the time. And basically I can talk to him almost any time on the ghost box. So these 2 people were here the other day, and one of them was about 10 years old. So I said, would you like to talk to a ghost? She said, yes. I turned the ghost box on. Bert came in and talked to her. And we said goodbye to Bert, and that was the end of the conversation. But basically, I can do it anytime you want.
So if we have people on the other side and they're reincarnated, who are the ones that are our spirit guides, and how did they get left behind to be our spirit guides?
Well, the guides actually haven't been left behind. They've advanced to the point with their learning that they have made the decision to stay, to become a guide and help others. And by helping others, they can also progress on the other side. You reach a point where you've learned a lot, but you have to learn more on the other side. I guess that wasn't too clear.
Okay.
But your progression is not only incarnate lives, you have to advance yourself when you're on the other side as well.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, let me try another rephrase.
Okay.
In your incarnate life, you have to go through your experiences of learning. When you're on the other side, you can learn without having to go through the experiences. Now, did I mess that up more? I was trying to.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, I was just actually I was just going back over one of my chapters where I'd written about that.
For me, the curiosity is being able to actually channel with my guides to figure out, how to actually communicate with them. I guess that's where I'm stuck. My daughter, my older two daughters are 20 and 19. They play with the Ouija board every now and then. And the first time they ever touched it, this spirit came through and said that it was a girl and her name was Gina. Well, ever since she came through the board, she has been she won't leave. So every time they try to use the board, she's always there. She's a trickster. She'll say something and then she'll spell out joking. And, you just wonder, she won't leave. And my daughter has, she's dreamt before in her life. She has that ability where the people that have passed but haven't quite gotten to heaven yet, that are stuck, they ask her for help. And a lot of times this is in a dream state. They'll give her a name, and when she wakes up, she looks up that name, and indeed that person's missing, or has their body hasn't been accounted for. So, what does all this mean?
Well, first of all, if you're going to use a channeling board, you need to know how to do it. Everything we do is based on protection from God. If people want to come in and do a channeling session with us, my first question to them is, do you believe in God? If they say they have doubts, I say, well, then you cannot channel with us because I do not have the ability to protect you.
Right.
If you believe in God, then I ask them for several nights before the session to pray for the presence of the spirits that you want to see come through for you. You have to let them know that in advance that these are the spirits you want to have present. And then when we start our session, we do our prayer of protection, and we ask that no evil come through, and that the spirits will stay on the other side and not join us permanently, to make their presence felt. And if you follow all the instructions and if you do it right, you will. The channeling board can be an absolutely magnificent tool. If you do not do it with protections, it can be a disaster.
What do we do when we've already made that mistake? How would my daughter go about getting this? I don't, to tell you the truth, sometimes the things that this spirit spells out and such, I almost don't believe that the spirit's name is Gina, and I almost don't believe that it's a girl. So
it can be a negative energy. One of the first things the guides told us to do is always check for scammers. They said they are on both sides. You have to test them. We always start off by asking a spirit if it is of God, because they have to answer that question for you.
What if they lie?
They can't lie about that question. They'll jerk them back.
Oh, okay. Well,
no, they have to answer that question. So we always start, if we have an unfamiliar spirit, we will always start by asking that question first.
Well, that makes sense. I didn't know any of this stuff, and I wish I had before she ever touched the board. When I was a teenager, we played all the time, and We didn't think anything of this stuff, but what goes on in the home I live in now, I can almost see what we've created.
It'll have to almost take place now, like with an exorcism. You'll have to go through the prayers, and you'll have to ask the spirit to please remove itself from your presence.
Okay.
Ask it kindly through prayer, and see what happens.
I had an exorcist actually on my show just recently, and he was very interesting. He does clearings of the negative energies that are left behind from these things. And that is very interesting to me because I almost thought that was where we were going to be anyway. For some reason, everybody that comes in this house can feel like it's so, I can't even explain it to you. I've been in one house in my life that was so negative that I had to leave. And I had a friend who come to find out that the guy that lived there way before she ever bought the house murdered little kids. And it was never proven, so therefore he died before anything was proven and stuff. But that's what they believe happened. And when I walked in her house, it was the most horrible, I can't even explain the feeling, and I had to leave. The house I live in now is the oldest house that was ever built in this whole town. And you can feel the negativity. It makes you kind of angry, sad, just a feeling of just melancholy all the time here. And that was thunder. Believe it or not, it's thunder in here like crazy. But, how do you know if that's really what it is in your house?
I would try to communicate with it on the board. I would ask for that presence to come through and ask it to leave. I would do it with a channeling board to start and see if I could communicate with it.
So I can ask them to leave, and that can actually work?
They don't have to leave, but you can ask. That's how you start. You ask them very nicely. Say, would you please leave our home? This is a place of God, and there is no place here for you.
Do you know of any kind of cleansing things I could use, such as, I know sage is a positive thing. Is there any kind of prayers or specific things I can light or something just to kind of...
Well, the white cat, in my book is called Afterlife, What Really Happens on the Other Side. And at the end of one of my chapters, I actually give instructions on how to try to cleanse a property. And you can go through the basic steps. You can try it with holy water. You can try it with salt water. You can try it with prayers, with white Christ candles. But there's this process that you can go through. But if it refuses to leave, then you're going to have a person of God, a priest or somebody that does exorcisms, come in and have it removed.
That's kind of what I was worried about because I didn't really want to go that far. But you can feel
try it yourself. I mean, I got the instructions in that book.
Okay.
And it'll tell you how to do it.
Up next this month, I actually have a guest that's coming on, and I'm really excited about it. His name is Mark Brinkeroff, and he claims that